Thank you very much, dear Vince, for being here today at this episode. Um, in this one, it's an honor. I'm super excited because it's pure sales, it's AI, it's my alley. So Vince is a VP of Growth Advisory. He has a breadth of experience: Dell, Gartner, IBM, EDS. So I'll give you the floor, Vince. Let's talk a little bit about your story, your background, and I'll ask you a bunch of questions. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Luis. Appreciate the invitation today. Just a little bit of background for context. I worked in the corporate world, as you mentioned, pretty much in high tech with several leadership roles. And really my last post was more on the consulting side, where I was looking at companies that primarily were in Western Europe, but looking to expand into the US, and created go-to-market strategies for them around sales, marketing, onboarding into the US and Canada. And toward the end of that, I got involved with a company called Dextego, which is really a lot of the new hot AI solutions within the sales stack. And I think that's what we're going to focus on today.
That's correct. That's correct. So just as a background, some of the sales strategies before it's about KPIs, it's about closing more deals, it's about effectiveness, efficiency, show up rate, and things like that. So what if we could have an agent that is always happy, that is always responsive, that it's a coach that helps me close better, even if it's my first day in my job? And that's what the Dextego is doing. So if you can tell us a little bit about the platform and the growth that you have seen and some of the features that you see working. Obviously you are involved there, but I'm just an external sales professional that I'm excited because I know the value that it has in the marketplace.
Sure thing. So first off, I'll make the statement that AI is not at a point where it's exclusive to the sales stack, meaning that you still need some human involvement. And to your excellent summary, you really I look at sales in three areas. First off is the strategic. What are you selling? What's your unique value proposition? How do you stack up against your competitors? What sort of marketing lead generation programs are you dovetailed with? Really all of that strategic go-to-marketing side where I spent a lot of my career. The second piece, as you rightly point out, is sales operations. So I think in terms of back-end systems and processes that enable the sales team. So things like CRM, territory design, pay plans, all of that back office sort of things. AI has made an enormous impact there because if you think about it, it's not really customer facing, but it is very workflow intensive, and AI has made huge strides in the sales operation area. And the last is really what I loosely call the sales management or human side of sales. We still need to have empathy when we walk in and read a room. We still need to have the human skill sets in dealing with our peers. Perhaps if you're in a leadership position, your salespeople. And certainly with your prospect side, everything from presentation to closing and everything, even in the beginning of the sales cycle, even up through cold calling. So specifically what Dextego does is it worked in all of those areas. Think of it as a coach. So it's not necessarily touching your prospects, but it is enabling your team in all three of those areas, if that makes sense. And we can certainly drill in.
Absolutely. And with that being said, this coach would be able to also not only help the individual that is closing, but also it will help leadership, because leadership needs to know who's a top performer, Why is it closing like that? How can I make the top performer to influence those actions into the mid performance and increase? Even if you have 100 people in your sales team and you increase 2, 3, 5%, how much money are you leaving on the table? Because the sales coach, human sales coach, will take time and review the calls and have the training and the boardroom and the lunch and learns and all that stuff. You have a personal AI coach that is telling you based on the training, and you can elaborate on this, Vince, based on the training, because it's not every company is the same. So if I have a company that is selling services, and a company that is selling products, it's not the same. It's not the same treatment. They have playbooks inside. So does that also get trained when with the LLMs that you guys have in the software too, and the leadership?
Yes, exactly right. So let me go back half a tick and explain how Dextego works. First off, as the saying goes, it takes a village. So even within AI, Dextego is not one sales coach. It's actually 4. And the 4 that they work collaboratively, but it is first off a leadership coach. So that sales team usually has a leader, and that leader is charged with helping that team become more successful around strategy, operations, and the raw sales talent and go to market, right? So there's a coach that helps that leader in context to his team. The second piece is really around how, to your point, how do I sell better, faster, cheaper? How do I onboard new reps, collapse those sales cycles, be more effective in front of my client, leverage AI and its worldly knowledge, but have that in a consumable way to coach the reps, just to simply improve what I call soft skills, but also hard skills. There's a motivational aspect, right? Sales is tough. Everybody has a bad day. I had a client with a new sales development representative, or SDR, and she asked our motivation coach within Dextego, hey, I did 100 cold calls today, didn't have any success. A couple of guys hung up on me or were rude, and it was just, I'm really down, motivate me. And so they need that real world coaching when the manager can't be there. So first off, hey, everybody has a rough day, but you're building your skill sets. But then that has to move into practical steps. Hey, if you did 100 calls and none of them worked, maybe you need to change up a little how you're doing. Let me help you with that. And then the last area is informational. What we're finding in the new sales methodologies that are out there, it's no longer about trying to trick or push a client and all of those push things that were, in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. It's more about being transparent, leading with a servant heart, getting on the same page as your prospect as a trusted advisor. So how do you do that? So this tool culminates with those 4 coaches into putting a real life aspect into your approach. And exactly to your question, what's it combining? What is the AI really doing? First off, it knows every single sales methodology that's ever existed from the dawn of time. So whatever your company uses, if they're standardized on one approach, if they use a combination of multiple approaches, whatever that is, it's that best practice, best of breed sales methodology. But then how do you apply that to your product or service, right? So that's some of the sales playbook aspects you had mentioned. You need to know what I call the street smarts of selling that product or service. What are the benefits, your unique value proposition, your competitive SWOT, all of those things. And how do I speak about it conversationally in a motivational, transparent, what's in it for me or what's in it for the prospect type of way. And then the third area, and now here's where we're going to go super advanced. So I'm going to announce it for the first time on your show. Yes, there are other AI types of coaches and sales training out there, but remember I said street smarts. What if we could take all of the sales methodology, product solution knowledge, and combine that with both the psychographics or behavioral profile of both the salesperson and the prospect? So let me give you a real life, for instance. Different polls, but the tool is going to go through and figure out your DISC, your OCEAN, other personality metrics, along with our proprietary influence score, because you want your reps to be influential. That's how you're going to get a deal. How it does that is it's going to go out and find every scrap of data that's in the public domain on that salesperson. Plus, it will get to know you better and say, hey, you're introverted or you're extroverted. Both can be very successful in sales, combined with empathy and all of the other profile designations. But you need that on the prospect side too. So you're going to speak a little bit differently, say, to an engineering persona than you would a marketing persona or a CFO. And that gets into the street smarts. So then you simply go to the tool. It already knows you, your company, your products, your sales methodology, your competition. Then you say, hey, I've never talked to the CFO of this company. I did great with the engineers, but now I have to talk to the CFO. How do I do that? That's what people are really after. Don't give me the theory. Tell me exactly what I should do or should not do within that pursuit.
That's amazing. And as we have seen oftentimes, and obviously this is going to be a 0% at some point, which is the hallucinations. So when you put in so much complexity into AI systems, they always come up with their beautiful ideas, and they invent things that it shouldn't be. So how are you guys coping with that? I'm assuming that QA will be very busy with it.
Yeah, so we use a platform approach, meaning that our platform, Dextego, understands in depth all the things we were just talking about. It is a sales ecosystem. So it doesn't hallucinate, say, like a general ChatGPT prompt, to pick on them, or any general prompt where it's seeing the whole world. And yes, you can maybe get back some good answers, but if you and I ask the same question, we're going to get back different answers. How do we know which one is right? So what we're doing here with our coaches from different perspectives, I explained how each one of them works, is we're honing that down into a specific ecosystem. So it even gets tighter as it's understanding your company, your products, your prospect base, and so forth. And remember, it's in context to, yes, the wider world of sales ecosystem, but then it starts to narrow its thinking in terms of your company, your products, your solutions, and then it narrows further with the behavioral weights. Right. So we have had zero hallucinations, because that's the reason you go to a platform. You're using agents that are pre-programmed with that culture, that ecosystem.
Yeah, because that could be very dangerous, and maybe like a limiting or some blocker for someone to think, oh no, it's too complex. That it might not be working out like they say. So that's a thumbs up in your end. Is there anything else? We're kind of running out of time, but is there anything else you want to share from the platform? Super happy. I think we spoke on our last conversation. We spoke like 30 or an hour just talking about this. It's super exciting for me. And the worst time that AI would be, it's today, and because it only gets better. So what's on the horizon for you guys? What's some of the secrets that you're cooking in and building on the platform?
There's a lot of behind the scenes work that is super exciting. And what I mean by that, things in terms of getting faster throughput or speed out of the product. We have made a conscious choice that we're going to begin to what I call humanize. This will be the first half of next year, where you can actually practice, say, pitching if you want to, or role playing to your actual prospect. So it's going to have a human avatar that it's interactive now, but it's even going to be better when you see a picture of your prospect, right? So we're doing all of those cool things with AI. But we're also really focused on data integration. So one of the reasons behind the scenes that we partner with Google is that its search capabilities, its data storage or cloud capabilities, we want to leverage that even further. So when I go ahead and create a persona profile in a pursuit, I want that to be more holistic, better, faster, cheaper. And the last piece is we have also figured out that while our corporate clients are really great with strategy and their playbooks and some of the things you mentioned on the sales strategy side, not so much in a lot of the small, medium business size markets. So for the SMB, we are, as of today, offering that we can also, from a consultative standpoint, do a sales playbook. So you not only have all of the sales training, coaching, and product that we've been talking about, but that can be coupled with a very specific strategy for your organization if you don't have one. So we're putting all of that knowledge in one place.
That's amazing. With that being said, I thank you very much, Vince, for being here and all the knowledge on the platform. I think it's before I knew there were some things like N8Ns and things like that, but there's nothing. Yeah, I'm not gonna say much about it, but you have already like a high impact working Trustpilot, five stars kind of thing. So if you want to engage with Vince, his LinkedIn profile, his website is listed below. Is that a good avenue, Vince? If somebody has questions to engage with you and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Vince at Dextego.com, or any of the information you've put here on the screen. And by the way, AI is new, but we're in 4th generation, and we've had this up and running for 4 years.
Yeah, no, it seems very mature, and all the reviews tells and back it up. Thank you, Vince. I'll see you around.
Thank you, Luis.